working on this painting of a unicorn. I'm excited to bring you along the process, and hopefully you will get relaxed along the way. As you can see, I started this painting a while ago. Maybe you can't tell by looking at it, but I have this horse here, and after sitting on it for a little while and looking at it, I've decided I want to level it up. I'm gonna turn this painting into something that I'm a little more proud of, which is a unicorn. I plan on changing the background. Right now it's a little flat, and there's always a risk to stuff like this. When you go back into old paintings, you never know. You might regret it later, but it's worth it, because safe paintings are boring paintings. And I'm still mentally recovering from my Thomas Kincaid painting, which I will be releasing that video once I edit it, which it's 7 hours of video footage, maybe more than that, maybe like 10 hours of video footage to go through. What I'm gonna do for you, I'm going to link at the end of the video the beginning process of this painting so that you can see technically the start to finish process, but it's not necessarily going to be chronological. So if you want to see the beginning of this process and you're watching on YouTube, then you're gonna fast forward through this and then watch that. I hope that makes sense. Thank you for being here. It means so much to me. I have my painting materials here, and I think my first step is to go in and make the background more of a landscape situation to reflect the essence of a unicorn, because right now it's giving nothing in the back. So we really want to level up the unicorn by leveling up the background. Right now the unicorn has no horn and it's just technically a pink horse, but we're making it into something more. Okay, so hang tight. I have all of my blobs of paint here. I think the first thing I need to do is mix a few shades of light blue and green, because I think that's essentially going to be what occupies the background. I just got through painting a few different landscape paintings, and that's informing the way I approach this. But I have to find my palette knife, so I'm just realizing that. 1 second. Oh, there it is. This is the palette knife. It's great for just mixing colors. I recommend using a bigger palette knife like this. And yeah, I hope that you have one. If you don't, go and buy one. Okay? All right. I'm going to show you how to mix the colors. We're going to go for a really light blue right now. So lots of white, a little bit of blue. That's good. Now we're going to go for a really light green. So we're taking yellow and blue as our base. And then lots of white. And there we have a really nice shade of pale green. All right. So now we're going to make a little bit darker green by taking a little bit of blue, a little bit of yellow, mixing, and that's a darker shade of green. I don't know how much of that I'm going to use. I'm going to take half of that and actually mix a little bit of pink, which is the complementary color, because basically red is the complementary color of green, but pink is basically red. It's a tint of red, technically speaking, but so we've got a few different shades of green. Now I'm realizing I don't have red on my paint palette, so that's something I'm gonna have to go ahead and grab. So we have a few different shades of green. Now I'm gonna go ahead and just plot out some mountains and a little bit of a landscape on top of the black. And I'm really showing you this so you can see that there are no limitations to your painting. Just because you make a certain choice doesn't mean that you can't choose something else later. It's not like coloring in a picture where there's an outline and you have to stay within the confines of the outline. It's not like that. You create your own outline and you can change your outline as you go. I hope that helps. Okay, so let's get into it. I like this brush. It's kind of big, which is good for covering more surface area at one time. We're gonna go with the light blue, and I'm gonna paint in a sky / mountains. It looks like white. Alright, so here's the sky. Obviously the black is bleeding through, but that's okay because I'm not set on this color. We're really just creating a light enough space for me to go in and work into it. So now let's take a little bit of purple, and I'm gonna work it into the background. I'm using my imagination. If I get stuck, I can always look up pictures, but usually speaking, when you're painting something in the distance, it's good to make it look purplish because that gives off a vibe that it's nice and hazy. Back here I'm painting a few little white caps. Basically, I'm making a pyramid shape back here. Taking a little, ooh, too much pink. Adding blue. And even just a little bit of green in there just to tone it down. I feel like looking up, I'm gonna look at my reference image for my last painting. No, actually, I'll look at the painting. I'll look at either my reference image for my last painting or the painting itself, whichever one I find in my phone first. Because, okay, here it is. All right, this is good. There we go. I'm looking at my last painting. I don't have it with me. It's at my house, but it kind of gives me a little more clarity on which colors to use in the distance. It's a lot of like gray blues back here, which I didn't really mix much gray blue. And then again, actually let's make the white cap on this side and then the gray and blue on the other side. In the beginning stages of your painting, go easy on yourself. Even though I've worked on it already, I'm going back into it. Sometimes you have to, especially if it's something that you're kind of doing from your imagination, you have to really lean into trusting the process. We're going to add more white on this side. And a little bit of blue up here. Ombre that blue into the white a little bit more. Alright, let's move on from this mountain. I could get really carried away with it. When really I just need to construct some type of background and then develop it from there, because right now it's too flat, basically. We don't like that. Okay. Over here, making the mountains a bit darker. Creating a white cap on this side and adding a little bit of a three-dimensionality to my mountains. Adding another little mountain here. I'm really just embracing the pyramid shape, basically. I need to add more colors to my color palette because I want to make, okay. Basically, I need a few different colors to my palette. I need dark, muddy purple and a dark, muddy blue, gray type of color. So those are the colors. So I'm going to take a minute and mix those up. Okay? So taking red and blue, mix those. Honestly, I really like that color. I basically cut the color in half with my palette knife, added more blue, and I'm gonna add a little bit of black and a little bit of green to cut the red, basically, and deepen the color. Okay. Trying to think, what do I need to do after that? Oh yeah, let's make one that's a little bit more blue by adding more blue into it. That's kind of a turquoise color. I like it. I'm cutting it in half, adding more black to make the grayish color and some more white. It's a really dark gray, kind of. I want to make a shade like that, but more blue, so I'm adding more blue into it. That's good. And then cutting that one in half and adding more white to lighten it. So now we have a new scale of colors, basically. Sometimes it takes a minute to go in and just mix all the colors, but it's worth it, because mixing with your paintbrush, you have very little control, and those colors don't really go very far. Whereas if you mix with your paintbrush, it does go far. You can make more paint, more of the same color. So I'm gonna make this one a little bit more blue and add a little bit more of that gray in there. Add a little bit of the purple. The purple is really what makes it feel more dynamic. Making this look a bit more hazy, a little bit more gray. Adding some purpley clouds from this side. A little bit of gray. Don't be afraid of brush strokes. I always say that brush strokes are your friend. I guess it depends on your style of painting, but in the world where everything is so fake and smooth, there's something refreshing about seeing real paint doing real painty things, you know? making this just a bit darker. And in here, just in a few. All right. I don't know if that's quite what I had in mind. Something along those lines, though. Something like that. I don't know, though. So, looking at the painting from afar already, I'm feeling pretty good about it. Stepping away from it and seeing it from a distance can really show you the truth of the matter, zooming out a little bit. So keep that in mind. And part of me is open to the fact of putting more 3D objects on the painting, but basically when it comes to my philosophy with painting is like, I want the painting to reach its full level of potential visually before I add anything to it three-dimensionally. That way the three-dimensional objects that I attach to the painting don't carry the painting. I want the painting to be what's really like structurally sound, and then the 3D objects can enhance the painting and make it maybe more free-spirited seeming and more like unique to me, which not everybody likes that vibe, which is fine. I totally understand. Not everything is for everybody. Some things are just not your cup of tea, but one thing I love about my art is I explore so many different styles, and I used to hate that about myself almost. Like I used to be so insecure about that, like feeling like, oh, the art people won't take me seriously. But like honestly, it's okay if the art people don't take me seriously. Like they've never taken me seriously. Like, and I've always just created my bubble of happiness and creativity that keeps me going regardless of what like the elites do, which no shade to the elite, you guys are, keep doing your thing, but like as an artist, you gotta really ignore what you think other people may want from you, because you really don't know. That's your own perception. So yeah, it's all good though. Let's keep going. What do you say? I love winking at you. It's fun. Okay, so now we're gonna do a little bit of fog and then some land. And hopefully I can make this look right. I don't know. Adding some water to my paint palette. I'm working with acrylic, and this is a little hack. Okay. Are you hopefully using acrylic as well? If not, that's okay. Just follow along as best as you can. So I'm gonna take my white and just kind of give it this number right here. Maybe a little too much water. It looks better on that side. I mean, it's way too thick. I mean, in a way, it looks better on this side. It's like we gotta find a balance between this side and that side. So let's blend this out a little. Maybe take your finger if you have too much paint and just kind of finger paint. I always say you're never too old to finger paint. Ooh, that really did the trick, didn't it? That looks very foggy. I need to add the horn on the unicorn. That's important, but the first thing is the background, because I feel like that's going to inform where the horn goes, which it's funny how I'm rhyming over here. I find that happens quite often. If you try to rhyme, your rhymes aren't going to be very good, but if you just speak from your heart and say what you're trying to say, you'll find yourself rhyming, and it's pretty cool. As a poet myself, which I know you're probably thinking, what, you're a poet too? I mean, kind of. I'm a songwriter, and I would say that my lyrics are more in the line of poetry. And I'm not just saying that because I'm trying to be like hyping myself up. It's just the way it is. Okay. Now we're going to take light green. We're going to put that right beneath our layer of white. Blend that green in with the white. Just like so. That made that less foggy looking, so I'm gonna add more white over the green, because it's like I do want some green and white overlap, but maybe not so much green. I'm running out of white. I think that that's more of the essence I'm going for. And a little bit of the green-white overlap in here. That looks good. Wow. I'm so here for it right now. This is so freaking cute. I can't stand it. Okay. And I'm glad I wore this dress because I feel like it matches the vibe. Even though I've worn it before, which I don't think you care, right? You don't mind if I wear the dress more than once, because I'm not like, I don't have the space in my closet for more clothes than I currently have. So I have to be aware of that, because it's not like I honestly, I don't know how people make the space for the wardrobes that they have, because I've had to get rid of a lot of clothes in the last year, basically, just to make space for everything, Okay, now we're gonna do our medium shade of green in here, and this is where it gets tricky, because I don't know if I'm just gonna bring it green all the way down or like what, because part of me feels like I almost need like a silhouette up here or something. We'll just see what it looks like if we keep it simple. Something I love about this painting is the brush strokes in it, so I want to really honor that with the rest of the painting. You know what? I wonder if in here needs to be more fog. Or if I just need to, I almost feel like it needs to be like a really dark green. I don't have the color mixed on my palette. I need more dark blue. Okay. I seriously need to go back to the art store because look, I have like no paint left, basically. That's the frustrating thing about being a painter is you have these physical materials that you use up. They're consumable, basically. I mean, I'm not eating them, but you use them, and then after you use them, you gotta buy more. And it's great for the art industry, and it sucks for the artist because it's like, oh, you're making me broke over here with like all this paint supplies I need and whatnot. But we're okay. We're getting through it. It's always been like that. I mean, my whole life, ever since I was a kid, it's always been just like most of my money goes into just funding my art endeavors. It just is what it is. I mean, I even have like a lot of just, I went to art school, and with that comes student loans and all that. Gross. Okay. Oh wait, I forgot. I'm mixing paint. Which I know some people think art school is a scam. I definitely don't think that. I actually learned a lot. Okay. But you can't necessarily go to art school to make money off of art, because that's, even though all the other schools, that's the point of going, it's just, I don't know, art's different, I guess. Alright, I'm trying to make a really dark shade of olivey green, so I'm using all of my blue, all of my dark blue. I need more blue in there. That's better. Let's cut that in half and add more blue. I wish I had more blue paint. Okay, so when I get really desperate, this is my little painting life hack. Are you ready? Are you ready for my life hack? Now this is just if you're really serious about art, okay? You're out of paint, right? You've got a tube like this. You cut the end. Well, actually, you kind of have to cut like the whole top of it. And look, you've got a whole new world. Look at all that paint left in there. Now, after you do this, it'll likely all dry up. So that's why you have to be committed, and you have to be like really, truly at the end. So you're just gonna get your little palette knife, and you're gonna scoop out all of that paint. There's seriously so much. If you have a where is it? I have like a little clip for my other paint sitting around, but basically before I'm done with before I like clean up my paints for today, I'm going to clean out the rest of that tube of blue paint and put it on my paint palette, because my paint palette comes with an airtight seal, so I can save the rest of that paint for my future paintings. So I hope that helps somebody out there who's trying to save money. Just use a paper clip. yes, you can, I mean, there are different things you can do to make sure that it's airtight. You just have to be creative. And someone mentioned my necklace. I actually got this at a thrift store, so most of my stuff is like secondhand. I probably spent less than $10 on this. I'm not really a jewelry person, even though I do wear jewelry. Like I wear a lot of like costume jewelry, like my earrings and just stuff that's, you know, found, gifted. I don't spend money on jewelry because it makes me nervous. I'm an artist. I get paint on everything. I lose things. And I'm not very materialistic, just in general. I like, you know, nice things just as much as the next person, but nice to me often means old and interesting, not necessarily expensive. All right, up here. Darker green. I'm hoping this looks right by the time I'm done with it. Okay, I have an idea. I think I know what needs to happen. So we're doing wide. We're creating the space in here, which is why it feels a little uncomfortable, but we're doing side to side brush strokes. We want it to feel like everything is connected. So I'm adding some lighter green brush strokes into the darker green to indicate bits of land that are catching the light. We'll see how this one looks by the time I'm done. Something's not quite right. Okay, it's getting there. I do think that keeping it kind of dark and ambiguous down here is a good idea. I do feel that in my gut. Because we don't want the viewer's eye to go down to that corner. We want it to be brought up to the face. Blending the different shades of green together. I don't want to blend it too much because remember we have a lot of brush strokes happening in the horse, and we want to stay true to the essence of the painting while creating just a space for the horse to exist, which is gonna be a unicorn. It needs a horn, but this is working out pretty close to what I was hoping would happen. I honestly had been planning on doing this for a while, and I just kept kind of not really sure if I should type of thing, but I liked aspects of the painting but not the whole painting. And so this is something you can do to your painting if you feel you need to level it up. Add a little bit more of that dark greenish blue. I feel like just having a few spots of lighter, like brighter green in this darker area is going to be a good idea. Like that. Just, I don't know, it feels more like rolling hills and maybe some fog. This is actually the light green, but I have a feeling it's going to translate as fog in there. I mean, that looks pretty good. I almost feel like that needs to go all the way over here and just kind of connect. I mean, I kind of like this. This is low-key looking good. Let's add a little bit of light green in there. We want it to feel like the grass is expanding behind the unicorn and off of the confines of the actual canvas. Trying to make this the right shade. That's a little bit better. A little too light though. I just don't want it to feel so harsh. That's good. There aren't harsh lines in the distance. In the distance, things are blurry. I mean, there might be a few kind of harsh-ish lines, but most of the time when you're seeing something in the distance, it's unclear a little bit, and especially in terms of painting, if you want to convey that feeling of something being far away, you want it to actually be less clear for the viewer, which is counterintuitive for a lot of painters. A lot of painters are very we unknowingly overdefine things sometimes. I'm going to add another mountain back here to kind of blend in with the ears a little bit, because I feel like that the ears are given like bunny rabbit type of thing. It's getting a little darker outside, but there's way more light. Just in general, now that it's spring-ish, summer-ish. Okay, adding more white on the left side. I don't know if that's too many mountains now, but I mean, I kind of like it. Make that one a little bit less like the other ones. trying to decide how I feel. Because I feel like part of me I don't know, is it too redundant back there with like all of the white caps and stuff? Hang on. I'm trying to create a little bit of variation between the mountains, if that makes sense. I like the overall vibe though. Okay. I still feel like that the mountains need just a little bit of look, and I'm looking at them from a distance. I like what happened here, and I still need to make the horn. And I'm not necessarily saying I'm done either. Maybe making this one a little bit more purple. I mean, that looks good. It just feels, I don't know, maybe after I added that one, or maybe I can take away, let me take a picture. Sometimes taking pictures can help you see. Well, first of all, something definitely needs to happen in here to kind of just blend the mouth in with the grass around it. Okay. I feel like this needs to be bluer, and I'm trying to speak softly while I'm getting excited and focusing. I feel like I had it and then I kind of lost it a little bit. Well, that's a good idea. Just kind of make them break up the shapes just a little bit. And then blend that back in. I like that. I mean, there we go. That feels foggier. It's like if there's any harsh lines in the fog, it'll take away from the illusion of the fogginess. See, just now I think I took away a little bit of the illusion accidentally. Sometimes you actually find yourself overworking it. Just bring back whatever it is that you maybe overworked. But As long as you learn something from every painting, it's fine, you know? Like, not every painting has to be a massive success. Doesn't mean that you're not a good artist. It just means you worked something out through that particular painting that now you know, and you'll learn from it and keep that in mind in your next painting. Okay. Now for the unicorn horn. I'm thinking keeping it white and pink, and I'm trying to think where would it be? I feel like it would be like in here. Alright, we gotta just put it in and then work with it. I'm thinking thin. Like, maybe not this thin, but not huge either. We have to give it a light source. So definitely give it a little bit of shape. So we're going for kind of a cylinder look. I feel like it got too thick in there. And I feel like it might need to be thicker than I thought for it to feel unicorny. Alright, let's just I knew that this would be a challenge. Should it go up a little bit more? Yeah, it should. Okay. So I'm not making any definitive moves right now because I'm still trying to figure out where it belongs in the space. But you can see I'm doing this kind of circular motion. And you can always take the negative space and paint around it to bring back the shape if you feel like it's getting a bit out of hand, which mine definitely is getting out of hand, but that's normal. Anytime you add something into your painting, it's going to be a little crazy at first, and then you gotta, work with it. It's funny to think that no one really knows what a unicorn horn looks like. I mean, everything's made up, so you just don't know. I mean, maybe you do know. It either looks correct or not, basically. So, yeah. Most people, when they look at a painting, they're just looking at how everything looks in the context of that painting. So they're not comparing it necessarily to other paintings. Maybe they are, but a lot of times it's really just asking the question, does everything make sense together in this painting? gonna do a gradient in the horn. I think that's gonna be the best way to go. Where it's like purple to light purple to pink to yellow. See, look, you'll see what I mean. Actually, sometimes whenever I work on my paintings, I find myself thinking about other things that can actually help your painting. Alright, we're going to highlight this with white, side to side, kind of rounded U-shape brush strokes. And on this side, adding a little shadow. This might have ruined it. Kind of ruined it, but we'll bring it back. I feel like it's necessary to shade it a little bit. Blending that in with more U-shape type of brush strokes. Okay, so now it feels like a little bit of the sparkle is gone, but that's all right because we're going to bring it back. See, already that did something. I feel like that the highlight with the white was a good addition. I'm going to bring that back. And then I'm going to add the hair around it and let it dry. And then see what else it needs. Actually, I think I'm going to use a smaller brush now. Not too much smaller, but definitely a bit smaller than what I was using. Alright, let's highlight it. Oh, it's a little chunky. Already that helps a lot. And like I said, adding a little yellow in there can really add a little something magical to the whole vibe. Blending that highlight in with a little bit of bright pink. All right, now before I get too carried away, I feel like I need to add the hair around it, but I still, in here it needs to be a little bit more. And doing those U-shape type of brush marks really help kind of make it feel rounded. Okay. Now, let's work on some of the hair around my unicorn horn. So just kind of adding some brush strokes that go over the background. Because we painted around the unicorns, we have to kind of blend those lines again. I mean, already that looks way better. I'm not sure about I want to keep a lot of the big brush strokes kind of the same as how they were while adding to it. As you can see from afar, it does feel pretty cohesive. Maybe this feels just a little bit dark. Like I said, it's very much a back and forth. Because, yeah, already, I don't know, that just feels more cohesive. I just pushed back a little bit more. I don't want it to lose its structure. I feel like this is, I'm going to do the same thing that I did in here to the rest of the hair and even to like the border, like where just all of this kind of meets. So yeah. Okay. I like also how the horn covers the other ear. I wasn't feeling the other ear. Not sure. That wasn't really. There we go. Not totally sure what happened there. That looks better, just pulling out some white kind of strands. A lot of times we have in our mind what we think we want, and then when you actually get to the painting, you kind of, reality sets in. And your limitations become more and more obvious, and it's, I think the best painters work within those limitations, and not like in a limiting way, but like you're kind of aware of what you can and can't do, and you make it work, and you make it feel believable somehow, even though you can't maybe do everything. I think I got a little too carried away in there with the hair. I wanted it to be like wispy, beautiful hair, but I don't think I need too much of that. maybe just a little bit of it. I don't want to paint too much on the horse because I can see myself kind of maybe getting carried away, maybe regretting it. It's like a lot of the painting is just a bunch of brushstrokes, and the viewer fills in the blanks. And it's kind of about figuring out just where exactly what brushstrokes communicate what colors communicate what. I like that, just kind of like the bigger chunks of hair kind of falling together rather than little individual strands. Somehow just makes more sense visually with this one. Again, finding little pops of pink here and there. Okay. Honestly, that looks visually sound. For the most part. And when you get up close, you see the texture. You really see. And I did a good job with the actual beautiful, like with the face of the unicorn before it turned into a unicorn. It was a horse, and I couldn't stop thinking it was missing something. It was missing a little magic, and it took me quite some time to figure out what that magic piece was. And after looking at it and doing some landscape paintings, it hit me. There needed to be a landscape back there, like a Mona Lisa type of vibe, you know? Oh, it's getting dark outside. It looks really good though. I like it. In here, maybe it's a little too white. Maybe some stronger, thicker brushstrokes could be good. I don't know. It's like I feel like it needs the indication of some structure back there. I mean, that looks better. I need to step away from it and see what it looks like from afar. I mean, it wants to be a little bit more structured in the hair. Let me take a picture of it. The shading I did just now, though, it does help. Hang on. This is my favorite trick. Just flip it. squinting my eyes, trying to get just the right balance of colors. It's getting there. More white on top of the pink. It's about getting the exact right colors in the exact right places. And it's not always cut and dry. Sometimes your brain also you have to kind of tell the viewer I don't know, it's like you have to allow enough information for the viewer to kind of just fill in the blanks for themselves mentally. I like that. I'm telling you, flipping it upside down, it does the trick. It really does. I took a picture of it. That helps. Looking at it from afar. See, doesn't that look good? I'm so excited. What do you think? Let me know. I do feel like the sky could use a little bit more work in here. I mean, it feels a little unfinished in a few places. But sometimes that can be part of the charm. Gonna ombre the sky a little bit more. Allowing the background to remain somewhat simple creates a space for my unicorn to thrive. Because we don't want the background to feel like it's in competition with the unicorn. What should we name her? What about Candy? Kind of like that. I had a horse growing up. Well, my dad had a horse because my dad's a cowboy. She was my favorite horse, and her name was Dolly. Maybe we could name this one Dolly. She was part Appaloosa, which, if you know anything about horses, Appaloosas are really pretty. I'll never forget her. Did I make over on this side too? light. I mean, I kind of like it. Kind of like how light that is back there. I mean, that looks pretty good. Okay, that already looks so much better though. Like, it's crazy. I am so happy about this. No, but this actually looks really solid. Is it done? Who knows? I thought it was done whenever I stepped away from it earlier, but is it much better than it was? In my opinion, yes. Now you are inclined to disagree. Or you are entitled to disagree. Maybe not inclined. You are entitled to disagree if you disagree. I respect your opinion. I make space for everybody to have their own opinion. If you liked it better before, I respect that. I can disagree though with you, you know? But one of the great things about art is it's very subjective. We all are entitled to our own opinion, and at the end of the day, it's very subjective. If somebody feels a certain way about a certain piece of work, okay. You really can't change someone's mind or tell them how it is, because everybody kind of gets to choose what they think. I think I fucked this up a little bit. What was it that was there that isn't? It was like a light spot. Is that what it was? That looks good. It needs that. I don't know why, but it does. All right, let me take a picture. Make sure that there's nothing in it that just is gonna bother me later. I feel like the clouds just need some depth in them. Like some dark spots, basically. Because that might actually bother me. That's way better. Maybe a little bit in here. Maybe a little of clouds that kind of trail off. This is what it means being an artist. Have you ever heard starving artist? This is why. That's where the term comes from. Because you starve yourself while you're painting, because you're committed to your painting and not eating. No, I'm kidding. I'm looking at this through my down because it's almost like painting from like 5 steps back, physically speaking. That looks good. Maybe blend that out a little. Not really sure. I feel like I need just like to break this up a little bit. Okay. I mean, this is feeling kind of dark. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if it's too dark. I mean, I kind of like it. I feel like it gives it some depth. Let me take a picture of it really quick from afar. I mean, I feel like the dark sky is cool. Like the dark clouds kind of rolling in. I feel like it gives it some depth. Let me flip it really quick and see if I'm seeing anything. Let's maybe add a little bit of blue sky kind of peeking in through it. Sometimes you just have to stand up and kind of walk around your painting. This is when things get serious. Like keeping it but lightening it a little bit. I mean, I think that looks better. Just making it a little softer back there. What do you think? Do you like it? It's getting dark outside. Look, there's that little tiny bit of light kind of popping out behind me. But what do you think? I like it. I think it's good. I can't say that it's 100% done for sure, but I think it's at a nice stopping point. And the more I look at it, obviously, the more little things I'm gonna see that are gonna drive me crazy, which is why it's good to just step away from the painting at some point and just, because sometimes the things that you think are bad are just not that bad. They're just part of the painting. But you have to step away from it. Wow, I made that like almost a little too foggy looking. Okay, that looks good. But this was really fun. I think I'm good for now with this. Sure, there are some things I could tweak about it, but I think it's at a really healthy spot. And I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for watching this video. And for those of you who joined live, thank you so much. It means the absolute world to me to have your support. I will check up on the chat really quick. But anyways, I'll see you next time. And let me know in the comments, do you think I improved the painting? Let me know. there it is one last time. And yeah, I'm gonna have, what am I trying to say? I'm gonna have some dinner, and then I will see you next time. If you don't have a painting to paint over, just paint your regular white canvas black. That's your first step. Use a relatively thin layer. One thing I like about painting over paintings is there's that added layer of intrigue that no one knows about unless they do. And it's also just, it creates more texture because there's the texture of the layer underneath the painting. It's a cloudy day today, so I thought I should wear something bright to combat the cloudiness and to just, I don't know. I love this dress. It's from my clothing line. I wanted to wear something from my clothing line. It's an upcycled blanket, so I didn't crochet it. But enough about me. Back to the painting. As you can see, I'm using relatively thin layers, and you can kind of see the painting underneath showing through. So I might build up the paint in a few places. If you prefer a larger brush, feel free to use the brush that suits your comfortability. Rule of thumb, use a brush that is relatively equal to the size that you're painting or to the space that you're painting. This is actually a kind of a small canvas. It's a 16 by 20. So excuse some of the noise. I feel like this corner needs to just be covered a little bit more, and then we're gonna do some other cool things with the background. So you might wonder what inspired this painting. Of course, Chapel Rowan, Pink Pony Club. If you haven't heard the song, where have you been? You might be living under a rock, but I am so here for it. Pink Pony Club, dude. And I thought, like, honestly, my dress also inspired it. Not the song, but like painting it, because I was like, okay, I can match the pinkness of the painting. And it's kind of catchy, so we'll see. Okay. So essentially, here is the top of the nose, and it kind of comes down over like that. And then there's going to be the bottom lip. And then a little straight line, the cheek. I'm probably going to want to move it over a little bit more, so essentially it's like this. Here's the ears. They're kind of triangles leaning forward. This one is more of like a leaf shape because there's perspective involved. There's going to be a strong shadow on this side of the face as well as on the neck. There is going to be below the ear, there's going to be a little eye moment happening. There's going to be a nose, nostril situation. There's going to be some hair at the top, and then hair kind of coming down on the side of the horse. Okay, so that's the vibe of the general shape that we're going to be painting. So as I paint, don't get lost. Like, if you do get a little bit lost, just kind of pause, and you might even let your painting dry a little bit and then go back in and paint into it. I personally like working with dry paintings. It's easier to paint over stuff, so let's just get into it. I'm gonna use my medium-sized brush, and I'm gonna do outlining of sorts, just kind of plot it in. We're just gonna use my pink paint, the medium pink paint, and if it mixes with everything, it's okay, because we're just gonna build that layer. So we're gonna do some horizontal brush strokes. So this is gonna be the top of the nose, and honestly, this is gonna be a relatively simple painting for you guys. It's somewhere in the middle of simple and advanced. Okay, do you see how I'm allowing the paint to blend in with the black? This is a good thing. So allow it to dissipate. It's gonna make your painting look a bit more elevated. All right, we're gonna now, it's almost like a cylinder vibe happening. And so I grew up with horses, and a short nose was always considered desirable in a horse. My dad bred horses and ropes still when he can. Okay. Now we're gonna do like a half circle for the cheek, and we're going to just kind of feel out how far is the bottom of the lip from the cheek. And there is muscle structure happening in the face that we need to be aware of. Now I'm going to do some vertical brush strokes to vertical and horizontal, I suppose, to kind of fill in that cheek area with this pink. From this medium pink, we'll bring out the lights and the darks, but you kind of gotta start somewhere. So starting out with medium is a really good way to go. All right, let's plot in where the ear is, just using the black as I feel like it needs to be a little taller or something. I'm not really sure. Well, we're using the black as like the shadow, like already in the painting. That's one of the reasons why I really enjoy starting out with a black canvas, because it's like creating a shadow that you can work into, and you can pull that light from the black. Okay, I'm gonna take my light pink and I'm gonna plot in the hair by doing almost like, here's my little demonstration. We're gonna do this vibe. All right, it's where you start out at the root and just kind of come out. I have to be careful with this dress because I have 2 fashion shows that it's going to be in December. So I have to make sure I don't get any paint on it or I'm going to be screwed. Alright, so let's do that hair vibe. and I'm feeling kind of how wide the head is, and I might move the ear out a little bit more after I add in the hair. I'm kind of swooping it to the side, and look at how much give and texture there already is. I'm just gonna add some of that purple in there because why not? The texture is truly one of the reasons why I love painting over old paintings. But also, if a painting sits around for so long, you just kind of get tired of looking at it, I suppose. I'm wondering if then once I put the hair in, I'm like, okay, maybe the nose could be a little bit longer. Make it curl under. It's okay to move and adjust things as you go. Don't take your previous decisions in your painting too seriously, because you can always kind of adjust it and change your mind, basically. It's not like some of the other things in life where there's like real consequences. So just remember that. All right, we're gonna do purple now. We're gonna do an up and down motion, which is the neck. And I suppose you can say I'm painting through everything more than outlining it, but in my mind this is the equivalent of an outline, because I might go in and kind of change where things are located and whatnot. It's like the first vibe of the painting. So I'm using purple. We don't have to get all into it, but essentially this side of the face I'm going to add purple too as well, because it's shaded. I'm kind of trying to decide where that ear goes. We're just kind of leaving it like that for now. So I am using bright colors. I love bright colors. I think bright colors are hella underrated and they're not taken as seriously as they should. But that's the thing about bright colors, is they're not supposed to be taken seriously, and that's a good thing. Taking the white, we're gonna do almost like a rounded fireworks rainbow vibe. Brush marks, texture. Now remember, I used my white Gaffrey paint to mix in with my other paint to create that thick oil painty look. I did learn how to paint with oil paint, so it makes it easier to use any kind of paint. Honestly, it's like learning to run before you walk. Like, using oil paint is harder than using acrylic sometimes, depending on what it's like, you know, it's not water soluble, so it's harder to kind of manipulate sometimes because you've got all of these elements that you might not be used to using. So I do recommend, if you're a beginner starting out with acrylic, and maybe I'm gonna teach you guys how to do oil painting in the future. We'll see. Okay, see what I'm doing? I'm just kind of indicating that the hair is wrapping around the head by doing like this, like C vibe. It's like the letter C, only backwards. Okay, and I'm kind of seeing, all right, where does the nose go? I'm kind of opening up what I previously had to make sure that everything is where it needs to be before I develop anything. Actually, I feel like this could be curved in a little more, so I'm taking the black. There we go. All right. All right. How are you hanging in there? Are you following along? All right, so now let's take a lot of pink and just fill it in using chaotic, energetic brush marks. on the lower left side, this is going to be the lower neck, shoulder area. And again, this is a very painterly painting. Maybe I haven't said that, but we want the brush strokes to feel evident. We want them to feel like these brush marks are activating the painting. So don't smooth everything out. Going back to the purple and reiterating this shadow cast by the face, which I still think I need to make the face just like bigger in general, because even though this is a pink pony, it's not My Little Pony. It's a real freaking, it's a full-on horse, okay? Even though it's like a portrait of a magical pink horse. You know, that's the vibe. Maybe it could have a unicorn, but that's a little too predictable. Sometimes we want to paint things that are nuanced. And who knows, after I paint this, I might want to go in with some glitter or something. Okay. Let's take some purple and build this paint up a little bit in here. Feeling out this shadow a little bit more. Horses are really muscular, magical creatures, so as we develop the painting, we're going to try to indicate that muscular structure through the nose and the cheek and whatnot. Okay, so in here, let's just create some structure. Before we even put in the eye, I'm gonna make a little highlight kind of underneath it with the lighter pink that we mixed. And I'm kind of connecting that to the lower portion of where the nose would be. Let's take some more and kind of wrap around where we kind of envision that nostril to be. So we're using kind of a negative space technique right now, where you paint around the thing that you think it is that you're painting. Okay, so you think you're painting the eye, but really you're painting the space around the eye, which is in turn painting the eye. There's a wood shop underneath where I'm located, so they're working on stuff right now, so it might be a little loud. You might hear some things out there. All right, so I'm gonna switch to a little bit of a smaller brush. Still long, still relatively thick, but you can get quite a bit out of this type of brush. Like I said, I have to be careful with this dress because it's in 2 fashion shows in December. So, all right. This black area is kind of where I'm thinking the eye is gonna go. I'm basically painting a slanted almond. This part might be a little bit challenging. It's important to focus on the skin around the eye to really contextualize the eye. So I'm taking some of that white or the light pink and kind of creating these planes around the eye. And I'm not making it like a harsh line where we're making it where it's a little bit blended in with the space around, at least for now. I want to make sure that this shadow over here is maybe as dark as it needs to be. And after things dry, we can always go in and adjust the lightness or the darkness of something. but those undertones always inform what the final color is. Okay. Creating a little bit more of a rounded structure. I will say right now it looks creepy. It really does. But we're getting there. We have to really take the time that it deserves to make it look correct. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to render one thing and then move to the next thing. We're going to work on everything all together. Okay. Going back to my bigger brush because I need to get back into these planes underneath the eye. Okay. All right, so the ear is going to be more vertical, I think. I'm moving away from the eye for a second and working on some of the space around it. And in here, it really needs to be simplified. But right now, I'm just plotting in the general, like what it is. Making that a little bit darker. Some of the other artists are in the studio today. You may hear them chatting. I'm really grateful to be a part of a vivacious creative community. Okay. So before we work on the eye anymore, I'm gonna take full on white and create a streak down the nose. I'm going to connect that to the left nostril area. You can see I'm using confident brush marks. And already I think that that's going to help inform everything else. Let's blend it a little bit by adding some pink around it, because it's like that feels too dark in here. So we're using that light pink and we're pulling out some of that space. Oh my Lord Jesus, I did not mean to do that. It's okay. Sometimes you lose control over your paint. It happens. All right. We're getting it back. You just gotta work it into what you have. Painting around the nostril again. Making sure that this space next to the white feels like it's a full-on plane, not like airplane, like side of the face. That's what's gonna make this feel dimensional. Light pink over here to indicate where the left eye would be. It's obviously on the other side of the face. And then I'm going to kind of try to erase where that blackness is. Using light. Kind of a scumbling technique. Scumbling is where you use light over dark and you allow some of that darkness to show through. Quick brush strokes. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Just like that. It's perfect. It's getting there, right? All right. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip it. And I'm gonna flip my reference, which I generated on AI. You can judge me for it, but I think it's a great tool for inspiration, and especially developing something that's simple enough to teach, but advanced enough to be cool, basically. All right, let's take some of that pink, kind of highlight down there a little bit. Let's create almost like a little muscle moment, like a circular little muscle moment here. Let's take a little bit of pink, indicate where a lip would be, a bottom lip. And the top lip, kind of allowing it to disappear into the black. Now the nose kind of curls into itself a little bit. And it's kind of got a lighter rim. I do recommend flipping your painting upside down at some point in the painting process, if not multiple times throughout the painting process, because it forces you to see your painting from a different perspective, which often allows you to see what it really needs. Highlighting under the eye again. Highlighting these muscles in here. I noticed that kind of connects into the darker shadowed part. So it's kind of like a balance between pink and purple and through here, because it's kind of underneath the nose area, so it's shaded more, and anything that's shaded is going to look more purpley and blue. Blues and purples are your friend, and a lot of times you have to push what you're seeing from your reference, whether it's in life or not. Like, you kind of have to exaggerate what you're seeing in the painting. All right, let's take a little bit of that hot pink red that we mixed and put it underneath the face. And on the side of the face, kind of blending it in with the hair, because we're going to go back in with the hair later and create more of it, basically. Take some more of that pink, kind of add it into the purple. I might need to let it dry before I get too much on there, but already we're creating more structure. All right, my camera. All right, let's take that dark purple. I'm actually going to mix it a little bit in with black, and I'm painting underneath the nose, creating some space. And like I said, the nose kind of curls into itself a little bit. It's almost like making a 9. That's a good way to put it. And then it's got kind of a flat bottom, like the bottom of the top of the lip is a little bit flat, and then it kind of curves up. And then it's about finding that balance of progression between light to dark. And a lot of it has to do with layering up the paint until it's truly where it needs to be. Look at what happens whenever you put too much on before it's dry, because like some of the layers get dry underneath, and then yeah. Okay, let's add a little bit of, like, it's almost like adding eyelids and stuff around the a horse's eye. So just kind of creating a little bit of space around the eye. And then I definitely need some structure up here. And then, yeah, I need to create the ear, which is kind of like a diagonal leaf shape. And I'm using the purple. And I'm trying to feel out how much space is in between the ear and the eye. Like I said, there's muscle structure really all throughout a horse head. So it's like you kind of have to create almost like a blocky structural sense so that it looks like there are different planes happening. Let's take this light purple and create some structure in here as well. Adding some light pink around it to blend it in. And it takes time to really feel out where everything goes. I mean, even if I did show you exact step-by-steps, you would have to figure out where everything is on your canvas anyway. So learning how to feel through your painting is a really important part of this process. So keep that in mind. And yeah, I definitely think flipping it is a good idea. Okay, so let's make all of this kind of one moment here. Like I just want it to all feel like it's connected. Like I'm basically mixing on the canvas. It's mainly just the cheek area. I'm accidentally pulling up some of the paint a little bit too much. Things like that don't scare me. I just add more paint. But underneath the cheek, there's going to be a strong shadow. I'm taking black mixed with purple and just doing a downward motion, almost like a half moon. And then creating a cast shadow by painting downward with that dark shade. And already that's gonna help bring the face out a little bit. Mixing a shade of purple. Feeling out where everything goes underneath the nose. I want to make sure I'm leaving enough space for everything. There's a little highlight down here. And then also almost like a little pink highlight right there. But you also have to blend that highlight in with the shadow. Moment by moment, everything kind of changes. It can be overwhelming, but you just have to plot it in as you see it and build it up. Little white over here. That looks good. The more paint you use, especially for this type of painting, the better. Just build up those layers, honey. Build them up. Don't be afraid to. Just get in there. Okay. Adding a little more nuance around the eye with black. Just shading. I'm gonna go ahead and add in a little highlight on the eye, just so it doesn't look like creepy underneath the eye too. Because without the highlight, it kind of just looks a little bit ominous, if you know what I mean. A little highlight right there. I don't know if I'm gonna keep that. Part of me is like yes, part of me is like no. Might be a little bit too bright. I think having the bigger brush marks in here is a good idea. Going in with that light purple and recreating some of that structure over the black. And then doing the same over here. Just highlighting it again around the nose area. Let me flip it and see if it looks any better. I think it does. That's what's so weird. Like, you flip it and you work on it and then you flip it back and you're like, hey, hang on. Wait a second, it looks kind of good. A painting like this is weirdly about simplifying. So, all right, I'm running out of color, specifically my white. So here's the Gaffrey paint. It's thick. It's kind of expensive, but I think it's like something like this is $20 a tube, as opposed to like $6 a tube or something. But it lasts a long time, and they carry every color. But what I do is I just get white and I add it in with my other colors. But really, it would be cool to get a few more thick colors. All right, so we've got some white. Let's just mix it in here. Here's that light pink vibe, and we're gonna take more of the pink. I'm gonna use some of the space over here. Just mix the pink with the white. That might be a little bit too bright. Honestly, I'm gonna just take a little bit of the yellow and add it in there, just to create another shade. Create a little more dynamic. Oh, gotta be careful to not mix it with the black. So that's a nice color. Take a little more pink, a little more white, and just mixy. I feel like this one needs to be purpley, so I'm gonna add some blue. That might be a little bit too blue. Go in with more pink. We'll keep that, but I'm gonna cut it in half. Add more pink. And add more white. Make it pastier. Add a little yellow into the purple, which will make it feel like a more sophisticated shade of purple because it's the contrast color. Now it kind of killed the purple maybe a little too much, but I like it. We've got I feel like I need even lighter pink, like a huge chunk of white, and then just, yeah, mix that in and it's almost white, but it's not, it's pink. That's the vibe. All right. Okay. Like I said, it was an old granny blanket. It's a dark horse. All right, let's work on the ear a little bit. I still have my big brush. It's just giving me bigger moments. All right, highlighting the tip of the ear. The ear is like, you almost can imagine it like it's a leaf kind of coming forward. The other one has, it's almost like here is the ear, and then that's like the top of the ear right there. Okay. And underneath is going to be really dark, like underneath it, because it's casting a shadow. So you can see I'm kind of indecisive of like where it's going, but I'm taking my black paint and painting around it to cut into the shape that I have. Now let's take the dark purple and just kind of fill it in. I'm actually mixing very quickly, almost like a light blue, and adding it in there. Let's add some pink here. Big brush strokes. I'm using the coral pink that I mixed. And we kind of want it to look like it's coming off of the canvas a little bit. Let's do a little highlight here. Let's do a nice thick like moment above the eyebrow. It's like a little muscle structure here and here. And this is one of the reasons why I mixed that other color of pink, so that I can go in and create more structure. Such a pretty pink pony. Oh, I'm obsessed. All right, let's do a little bit up here. Only we gotta blend that in with the darker pink. The more nuanced, the better. So no outlining. Allow your painting to kind of get lost in the space around it. Like, it doesn't need to be super outlined and specific and defined. I mean, just leave it kind of open in a few places. So there is a shadow right here happening. I'm gonna use this hot pink kind of color. It's like there's a shadow, and then above the shadow there's a distinct highlight, which is the ear kind of curving under. That's good. There's also a pretty strong highlight underneath the nose. The nose is tricky. I'm going to show you on here. It's almost like it's a 9. Like, it'll curve under like that, and then the mouth is down here somewhere. But like the nostril kind of curves into itself, and under here is kind of shaded. And yeah, it's very weird. It's different than a human nose. Very different. All right. But we've got some weird things happening with our noses too. Noses are a little just weird in general. All right. Basically, I can't think too hard about anything, otherwise it just starts feeling strange. All right, so yes, let's paint this again with that dark purple, mixing it with the hot pink, which is essentially red, and it's like purple. It's pink mixed with purple and red. And I'm creating a little bit of a lighter connected space around this cast shadow. And then kind of connecting that. This is like the side of the horse. My favorite horse growing up, her name was Dolly. She was beautiful. She was kind of a strawberry red color. She had one of those stripes down her noses. She was speckly. This kind of reminds me of her a little bit. Just doing a little shading around the eye. Taking more of that hot pink and creating some space in here. Let's take some of the light pink and create some space in there. That looks good. That looks good. Just kind of blend that. I'm kind of making in here a little bit more nuance, like where does the stripe stop and where does it turn into a highlight? I need more pink right there. Damn, it's really building up. The layers. That looks good. Ish, maybe. Let's take more white and just open this up a little bit more like how it was. All right, now I feel like I need to mix another shade of pink. It's like light, but not too light, but it's not coral. That's better. It's better to, not always, but a lot of times it's better to just mix it than it is to try to mix it on your canvas, because yeah, it can be a challenge to get the right color on your canvas. Okay, let's do like a big kind of stroke of pink in here, kind of connecting it a little bit to the face. And now adding more white or light pink kind of over the top, scumbling again, creating that thickness that is really desirable. Now I'm noticing that this ear back here could be highlighted just a little bit more. I want it to feel a little wispier. So I'm going to take my black and just kind of break up some of that hair. Wisp it out a little. Now take some pink and kind of work it back in. There, it kind of feels like the hair is broken up a little bit. All right, so this side of the hair definitely needs to be worked on. You can see that it's a little malnourished. So yeah, let's just do what we were doing. Quick and thick. Quick and thick. That's my motto. Quick, thick. Okay, a light hair kind of coming out here and there is a good idea for this. It's yummy. It's a yummy painting. It's textured, it's juicy. And yeah, I'm scumbling again, just kind of adding. And here I'm making sure that the hairs kind of connect in a few places. That always gives kind of a whimsical, wispy vibe. You want to make sure the hair is coming over the actual neck, which sounds obvious, but those little nuances go a very, very long way. I feel like adding a little bit of purple in the hair is a good idea, but not so much that it distracts from the overall tone of the color. It really does match my dress, which was really what I was going for. Yeah, let's take some more of that purple. I do think in here there's a little shadow. Adding a little bit of purple into the mixed gel. It's looking good. Now it's a little too dark. That's okay, we're gonna add that white back over it, but keeping some of it. That's nice. Yes. In here, I feel like I can add just a little bit of like texture-y moments, kind of. It just needs to be a little bit more like me, not so flat. It's not quite right, but that's okay. Maybe in there, just a little. I feel like the nose, the nostril, like I'm just gonna shade a little bit of like gray in here, but not too much. And I'm gonna mix that with the black just so it doesn't feel like a never-ending hole. We want it to fade into the black. That's good. Let's take some more white. There we go, that's cute. Let's do a little one right there. I don't know if that was, oh, I don't know if I like that. I hate it. That's okay. Sometimes you do something and you're like, okay, I don't like it. You can always just kind of be aware of what you're fixing, because like if you end up not liking it, you can always kind of backtrack by painting over it. But if you're not really aware of what you're doing as you're making those decisions in your painting, it's going to be harder for you to backtrack if you feel like you made the wrong move. Alright, looking through my monitor, I don't know, I feel like that doesn't need to be there as well. Sometimes you get excited and you're like, okay, I want to do something, and it's like for some reason that one brush mark can throw off the entire painting. All right, we're gonna create some shading under the ear right here. That looks good. That looks good. Just making the inner part of the ear darker. Let's take some of my hot pink and actually extend this ear. This ear is feeling a little thin. Let's make it wider. Wider as in like expanded horizontally, not white. Although I am going to take a little bit of this pink and just kind of curve around the ear just a little bit. That might be a little too much, but we'll take the black and cut back on it just a bit. Now taking the light purpley gray and kind of mixing that in there. And then taking that hot pink and mixing it back in with that purpley gray. That's good. I don't know. Is it? I don't like it. Something about it. It feels a bit too vertical, I think. It needs to be more horizontal. That's better. And I think it's too tall. It needs to be shorter because on the other side of the ear head oh, I see. That needs to be shorter and then it kind of curls up like that. Okay. It's pretty good. I like it. Do a few little wispies. I don't know. Maybe I don't like those wispies as much as I thought I would. There, just kind of opening it up a little bit. And we're gonna integrate it into the black more than what I'm showing here, but basically kind of on the edge of the canvas, just kind of do this. This is the vibe. All right, so you're just kind of adding some pink. All right, I know it looks a little haywire right now, but then you're gonna take your black and you're gonna paint over it with your black and kind of mix it in. We're gonna do a little bit of a back and forth between the pink and the black to just give the background some, just to give the background a little something something, basically. I do feel like this needs to be more like, I don't know, solid might be the word. Just, yeah, I don't know. I mean, that looks pretty good. Yeah, so we're just taking the pink, mixing it in with the black in a few places. just so it feels like, I don't know, a little more textured, a little more interesting. Taking a little bit of black and cutting into the face. Always sounds so gruesome. Does that look right? I think it does. I don't know what I'm doing, to be honest. I'm literally just adding paint to the background in a few places, and then I'm gonna integrate it more into the painting with black. That's the key. So that's the full vibe. And as I do that, I'm just like noticing little things here and there that I can touch up in the painting. That looks good. And yeah, just kind of and then taking the black and painting over it again. Maybe a little bit more height right there for the mane. We just want the background to feel like it's connected. Yeah, so maybe a little bit more pink under here in a few places. And then you take the black and you just kind of paint around it so it feels like it's like you have multiple layers of paint on the painting, which you do, but you're kind of cheating just a little bit doing this, which I love cheating in my art. Like I take shortcuts all the time, like tasteful shortcuts. That is painting, you know. Painting is a lot about finding what's a way to kind of make something look a certain way and use like a technique all throughout to get that vibe so that you're not actually outlining every little thing. That's more like drawing. Drawing is a lot about like detailing every little thing, whereas I feel like painting is a lot about just kind of finding these little tricks and techniques that can truly go a long way. I almost feel like I need to palette knife it. Like, take my palette knife. Oh yeah, that's kind of the vibe. Oh yeah, that's the vibe that I'm going for. Yes. Oops. That's definitely the vibe. I am gonna kind of push it back a little bit with the black. This is a plastic palette knife. It's not the best palette knife in the world, but it works for what I need it for. Okay, all right, honey. I see what you're doing. A little bit in there. A little in there. A little in there. Okay, so then take some black, because you don't want it to detract from your subject matter. So you're going to take the black and you're going to push it over what you just did. Just get some horizontal moments happening, so it's not just like up and down marks. This definitely needs to be pushed back. It's just too obvious right there. I feel like I need more black, honestly. And I feel like I need to do some horizontal stuff. We don't want it to feel like it's taking away. We want it to feel like it's enhancing. So that's why I'm making sure I'm kind of pushing it back. Not making it hella fucking obvious. We're making it subtle. This is art. Okay? So be artful with your choices. Yeah. This is pretty. My phone is totally about to die. I feel like there's just maybe one little thing I feel like this can be a little bit more, and that can kind of come in a little more. That looks good. And then maybe that's good. The other thing is this purple moment could be more structured and defined in there. And I also feel like that the hair can come down a little more in there. That looks good. Just a little bit. That could be a little bit more subtle. I like the flyaways though, for sure. No, it's alright. I love painting with negative space. Alright, let's make underneath the chin just really dark, or underneath the jaw, or cheek, or whatever it is. I gotta maybe cut that in a little too far, so just we go. I do think in here could be a little highlight. That's cute. Having a few like really bright pink moments throughout the painting is kind of what it's all about, because it's like the subdued pink moments or the off pink moments create more meaning for the really, really bright pink moments. I will say my paintbrush and my water is getting muddy. And that's okay. I'm trying to decide, like, what is happening in here? I feel like there needs to be a shadow and then that light spot. That's kind of the vibe. Yeah. That adds a lot. Okay, let me take a picture. My phone's about to die. I just want to make sure it doesn't look weird before I say it's done. And taking a picture is a good way to just make sure there's nothing outrageously wrong about it. Okay. And don't compare your painting to my painting, because even my painting looks different than the reference image I'm using, and everybody's is gonna look different, and like that's fine. I felt like that needs to just be a little bit lighter. Yeah, it feels like it might need to be a little bit bejeweled or something. So maybe I'll do a video or a stream where I go in and I add some jewels, or maybe that's just something that I'll do on my own time. I don't know. But I really appreciate you being here. I can't thank you enough for just being in my corner as I, navigate this weird world of art and ASMR. So, thanks again. And I will see you next time. Let's just make sure that's as white as it can be in there. Okay, I think that looks good. Oh, my phone died. All right. It's as good as it's gonna get. Oh my god, I need to stop. I need to walk away. I have no choice.